Hey, this is Unit 4, Chapter 6, Lesson 2. We're going to be solving one-step equations again, but this time with multiplication and division. Here's Mrs. Purdue.
Hi, today we are going to talk about how to solve equations using multiplication and division. Your I can statement today is I can solve one-step equations by using multiplication and division. So here are your target problems, but we'll come back to those at the end of the lesson. So let's look at our first example. Our first example is 20 is equal to 4x. Now remember, when we have a letter next to a number, it means to multiply. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw the wall in first, as in the previous lessons. So we're going to draw our wall, and we have to look at this as your left side and your right side, and they are equal. They're balanced right now. So remember, this is multiplication. To undo this multiplication, we have to use the inverse, also known as opposite. The opposite operation of multiplication is division. So we are going to divide both sides by the coefficient of 4, because remember, we have to get rid of it. Okay, because I divided by 4 here, I have to divide by 4 here. Therefore, this is going to be 4 divided by 4, which gives me 1x. That's our ultimate goal, is to isolate this variable. We want the coefficient to be 1. And in order to get that, we have to divide out the coefficient here. So this is 1x, and then we have 20 divided by 4, which gives us 5. Therefore, x equals 5. I found my solution, so now I have to check my solution. So your check, you can come over here, and we're going to substitute in the x equals 5 in for the x here. So we're going to take 20 is equal to 4 times 5, because that's what x equals. And you can draw your wall, and this side, solve it. You need to simplify this. 4 times 5 is equal to 20, and 20 does equal 20. So I know that my answer is correct, because 4 times 5 is 20, and this side is 20. Now let's look at a more challenging question where we have negatives. You have to be careful with your negatives. You have to apply your integer rules. Okay, so this one here says negative 8y equals 24. And again, negative 8y means 8 times y. We're going to draw the wall in so we can see our left side and we can see our right side. And what we're going to do is, because this is multiplication, we have to use the opposite operation of multiplication to undo multiplication. So we're going to divide by negative 8. So we have to divide by negative 8 over here. Now remember, we want our coefficient to be positive 1. In order to get positive 1, we have to make sure we keep this negative with the coefficient. So negative divided by a negative is going to give us that positive 1y. And over here, we have to apply our integer rules for a positive divided by a negative, which gives us negative 3. So I know that y is equal to negative 3. So let's go over here and let's check it. With my check, all I have to do is substitute in this negative 3 in for y. So negative 8 times negative 3 is supposed to equal positive 24. Put the wall in. Negative times negative gives me positive, and over here, this is also positive. Because my check worked, my answer is correct. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at another type of problem. Now we're going to look at division problems. Okay, yes, division is shown as a fraction. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is we have to look at this as x divided by negative 4. So we're going to draw in our wall, and because we have division, we have to do the inverse or opposite operation. So we're going to multiply by negative 4, and they actually are going to cross cancel out. Okay, so now we have this x, or 1x, because remember the 1 is hiding. This is equal to times negative 4 over here, so we have to do 6 times negative 4 to give us negative 24. Because remember, we multiplied here, so we have to multiply it over here. And a positive times a negative gives us negative. So now, let's check our solution. So here, we have to substitute in x as negative 24. So here is my check. You have negative 24 divided by negative 4 is supposed to equal 6. A negative divided by a negative, this gives me positive 6, so I know that my solution is correct. Negative divided by negative gives me positive. Let's look at this last question before we hit our target problems. Again, we have a division. Because we're given division, we have to do the inverse of division, which is multiplication. So we're going to draw in our wall, like in the previous lessons, and we have to get rid of this divide by 5. In order to get rid of this divide by 5, we have to multiply by 5. So we have to multiply this side by 5. This gives us negative 35 is supposed to equal to m. So I have my solution because my m has the coefficient of 1 and it's positive. So m is equal to negative 35. Now let's check it. So what we're going to do is on this side, I'm going to check it. So with my checks, I need to substitute in this negative 35 for the m. So negative 7 is equal to negative 35 divided by 5. Go through the same steps. Draw your wall in and you solve this side to make sure it equals this side. Negative 35 divided by 5 gives us negative 7. This side stays negative 7, and I know both sides are equal, and therefore I know my solution is correct. Now, can you hit the target? Here are 3 problems that we would like you to try. So number 1, number 2, number 3, and beside each of these, you need to show your check. Good luck.